AFC South side. AFC South side. AFC. Are you ready for the fight? Nighty night, lights out, no tight.
Hey everyone, welcome to the AFC South Fan Battle Podcast. I'm your host tonight, Matthew Briggs. Guys, we are in the greatest month for the NFL besides the actual season. It's draft month, and that's why we're here. Before we jump in, let me introduce my colleagues. Representing the Jaguars and from the Jaguar Fan Battle, I got Mr. Cody.
Cold gaming. Titans got swept. Never forget.
Dang. Already.
Dang.
Man.
There's a first time for everything.
Thanks for doing my job for me, Cody. And introducing the Titans, we got Maximus Titan fan, Max. So what's going on, man?
Thank you, man. What's up?
And representing the Colts from the Horseshoe Mob himself, we got Mr. Christopher Jackson.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. It's hard to follow up that first one. Good on you, Cody. You got me stumped. What's going on, people? How's everybody doing this evening?
Hey, that's a first, bro. That's a first.
Yeah, listen. Normally I'm the one that comes up with the zingers, but it's just like, okay, let's just get straight to it. All right, that's fine.
And saving the best for last, one of my amazing trios from the Texans Fan Battle Podcast, I got Mr. Brown Chubby Bear himself, BT. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, guys? Let's go Texans.
All right.
Good morning.
Let's not.
Man, I appreciate you doing my job for me again. Like I said, we're going to jump into the draft. Today we're going to talk about Texans. But before we do, guys, I know most of y'all ain't wrestling fans, but did anybody see Pat McAfee just kick the shit out of the Miz last night?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's our guy. That's my guy. All right.
I mean, he just brings another level of awesomeness to the sporting world, man. Like, what can't this guy do? Like, he does everything.
That's what I'm saying.
You know,
like Pat McAfee is the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, outside of the fact that all our teams are trash, I think he pretty much keeps the AFC South relevant.
He can't score a touchdown through the A gap. Apparently, that was one of the things.
True, very true.
Yeah.
And apparently, he can't apologize to Brett Favre either because he's getting sued by Brett Favre. So I mean, there's that. So.
Yeah, imagine being sued for somebody talking about something you did.
Hey, hold on. Allegedly, we don't want to be getting sued either. So allegedly,
okay. Yeah. Allegedly.
I just can't wait for Discovery because if this thing goes down, he has to now answer questions. So I can't wait for Favre to actually be like, "Yep, I'm going to answer questions about it." Guys, it's a freaking moron.
That's gonna be fantastic. Can't wait.
All right, well, guys, I hope you put your GM caps on. Not the Colts because we don't want Chris Ballard fucking this draft up. So
no, you don't.
Like I said, we're jumping into the Texans. But before we do, guys, here is a what needs the Texans. Chris, I'll start off with you. What's the biggest need you think the Texans need?
I mean, to me personally, without a doubt, I think Davis Mills gets a bad rep, but I think it's quarterback. It absolutely is quarterback because you see what you've had the last few years. You see that the Texans can at times be successful, but the problem is that to me it's just like Mills has been extremely inconsistent. Now, could that be coaching? Could that be, could that actually be the player himself? It could be any one of those things, but I mean, I think quarterback needs to be addressed to see exactly how much of a need it actually is for this team. Because if Bryce Young comes in and he's not the guy or it doesn't end up being the issue, then what was?
Right. Okay. Well, Cody, what about you? What do you think? Do you think quarterback is, or do you think something else?
Yeah, man, it's definitely quarterback. I mean, it's one of those like playmaker positions where it can go in and change an entire organization, and that's what needs to happen to the Texans. To be honest, I think even it.
Right. And the Texans couldn't pull a Jags and tank correctly. and of course we got the second pick. So, you know,
I mean, there's some room there, whatever. When I did the mock draft, and I believe this would happen in real life, you know, a couple of other teams would try to get those, at least that second first round pick that y'all got. So there's a lot of room to work with, a lot of potential there. And you could, I mean, you could probably jump up. I mean, you know, if you wanted CJ Stroud that bad.
yeah, we're good. All right. What about you, Max? What do you think?
Oh yeah, that's glaring. Obviously, it's quarterback, man. I mean, if you draft a number 1 or number 2, and you might need a quarterback, you draft a quarterback.
All right. BT, I know what you're gonna say, but go ahead.
Yeah,
Give me your rant.
it's definitely quarterback. We know that that's the biggest problem here. We saw that Davis Mills, I blame play calling, right? I blame Pep Hamilton. Pep Hamilton is a war criminal. He did some crazy shit. He put 2 quarterbacks out there constantly like it's the XFL. So the play calling was definitely an issue. But the bottom line is that you can't blame the play calling when you're overthrowing receivers 10 feet too high. You can't blame play calling when you're throwing at their feet. And you can't blame protection when the protection is good sometimes. You know, so at the end of the day, it was quarterback. We obviously have lots of needs, but that's the biggest one.
And you know, it kind of sucks for Davis Mills because his neck's so high. He thought they were a little bit further, but you know, oh well. Well, guys, we're not going to do the whole 7 rounds. Push wrong, but whole 7 rounds. But we are going to jump in. Let's do the first 3 rounds because I don't want my boy Cody cold game and not know who we're talking about after the 3rd round. The picture I got up a load is the ESPN draft analyst Jordan Reed. He did the 7-round mock draft of all the teams, and this is the Texans. So BT, you're familiar. I'll start with you. Where do you see the Texans going the first 3 rounds?
So this looks like it's obviously a possibility here. If the Panthers, I think either would go CJ Stroud or even AR, but they're not going to. I don't think they're going to go Bryce Young. So we're probably going to get Bryce Young unless something miraculous changes. So right there, that's accurate. 12 is I think it's a little up in the air because we don't know if Tyree Wilson will actually be there because if there's 4 quarterbacks and potentially 3 quarters that go in the top 10, there is a chance that either Jalen Carter or Tyree Wilson could drop. Now, that's a big if, but it's an if nonetheless. And if one of those edges are there, I don't know if you can say you're going to go with a receiver as good as JSN is. Will McDaniel, I mean, he's a great edge, so I understand that pick. And as far as center is concerned, you know, I will love JMS. So if we have to get Whippler instead, all right, I'll take it. I prefer either JMS or Tipman because after quarterback, center is really what we have to go after. We've been avoiding it for about 4 years. So, for the first couple of picks, I'm down with almost everything that's on there.
So, Cody, you did your homework before you came on. You said you did a mock draft. Tell me, what's that mock draft look like for the Texans?
So, first round, you know, of course, it was Bryce Young. I mean, it seems like the obvious pick right now, whatever. That's the name that keeps popping up. And to be honest, man, I'm not super high on him because he's like a quarterback from Alabama and like they do all right in the NFL. They're not like, you know, superstars or anything. I don't feel like personally, but anyway, that's just me. And we could get more into that if you want to. But at the second pick in the first round, Nolan Smith was there, and you'd be an idiot not to take him. You know, it's just one of those like generational talents or whatever at that position, and you know your team has needs,
especially with D'Amico Ryan.
Place.
Well, yeah, especially D'Amico Ryan as a coach. You know that could be a big pickup.
So then Dwayne Jones landed there, and I was like, if you're getting this like, you know, fresh leg, young QB or whatever, protect him, man. That doesn't seem to be the case, like in a lot of people's like decision making skills. Like this guy is going to come in there and risk his neck for your team, or whatever. Like, you know, put somebody in front of him that, you know, can cover that. Otherwise, you're not going to have a young QB for long. You know what I mean? He's going to be on his back a lot. And like you said, you know, the pass protection was there at times, but it needs to be like on point, especially with somebody that's learning that system, like from Jump Street. Right after that, I got a tight end. And Yeah, in a tight end, Sam Laporta from Iowa. I did that because when you have like young quarterbacks coming to the NFL and they're learning the system and stuff, they need those tall guys out there to see, in those short passing situations they're covering those zones. I mean, just make it easier for this kid in this terrible situation he's going to be in, where in a team that has a lot of needs.
Well,
Okay.
I hope Josh Allen's not listening, because if he is, he's going to be very pissed off at me. But I can't see, maybe in the later rounds, but third round, I don't see us going tight end, because we got the best tight end in the division in Dalton Schultz. I think he automatically comes in and could take over the spot of being the best tight end. The dude is a red zone beast.
All right, time out. I'm not going to let this go on this much longer. First off, you can't say best tight end and Dalton Schultz in the same sentence.
In the division.
I was wondering, Evan Ingram.
No. I mean, look at the stats. They're very similar. So Schultz has more touchdowns, and at the end of the day, touchdowns are more important. And he also had Cooper Rush and the interception machine Dak Prescott thrown to him. So
what's gonna change about that with going from Dak Prescott to whoever y'all get at quarterback?
He's a rookie. Like Cody said, what does rookies do? They rely on the tight end.
Yeah, that's true.
And also he Bobby Slowick comes from a Kyle Shanahan zone blocking West Coast offense, and tight ends speed, Shannon Sharp, Jordan Davis, George Kittle, like Owen Daniels, like the list can go on. A great tight end. So I mean,
how long do y'all got him for though?
2 years.
2 years. Okay, that's not too bad.
He's on a 1-year contract right now.
1 year.
1 year.
But,
I mean, this new tight end could be sitting behind that guy.
Yeah,
I do think that we'll extend him. I think that the only reason why he's in 1 year is because he wants obviously more than $9 million. So I think that if he does a decent job, we'll extend him mid-season. So I think we will have him for more. I think we'll have him up to 3 years. So I don't think that's it.
$9 million's kind of high, ain't it?
No,
I mean, like Calais is on a $6.5 million, contract or whatever, and he's, I don't know. He just seems more like, I don't know, tight ends were getting paid that much, to be honest.
his market value was actually set around 12 to 14, according to like EBS, CBS, and Sport Track. So he actually got underpaid. He actually turned down a 3-year, $36 million contract. So $12 million a year, because he thought he was going to get more than that. So he actually came to us at a discount.
That had to hurt. Woke up in a new Bugatti, turned into a Cadillac.
So, anything? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Cody. Anything else on your mock draft?
Yeah, man, it was Marvin Mims, wide receiver out of Oklahoma.
Okay, that's not bad.
There's a lot of wide receivers in the draft class this year, and if you watch their highlights, there's hardly any contested catches. Marvin Mims had some amazing catches.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, any objections or comments on Cody's little mock draft? No. B?
Well, what I'll say is, in terms of contested catches, I guess I understand the reason, but the dude from Purdue, Charlie, what's his name? Charlie Jones, he doesn't get any love. And look at me, I can't even remember his name.
You kind of hit the point there.
I understand the reason. The dude's 24 years old, so he's not getting a lot of love coming out of the draft class. But he led all the country in contested catches. He just doesn't get a lot of love. He's from Purdue, and I think that whoever gets him is gonna be kind of lucky, because he's 5'10", but he plays like he's 6'4". He plays like you want Quentin Johnson to actually play.
Right.
So, there are some dudes in here that are sleepers, and hopefully if Nick can, get his scouts to do some proper evaluation, I think we're going to have some late-round wide receivers, whether that's A.T. Perry or Mingo up in there as well, not just the top-end receivers.
Yeah, that's what I would do, honestly.
All right, Chris, you were going to say something? No. Oh, I thought I heard somebody say something before BT jumped
No,
in.
well, no. Matter of fact, I was. Yeah. But no, I was gonna say it's just I think it's with the way that the Texans are structured right now, with the fact that it's just like you have 4 picks in the first 3 rounds, and you know that team does have holes. I don't think that outside of drafting that quarterback at 2, that there's any wrong way to go. Just because there's spots that need to be filled on that team where there's a lot of depth in this draft coming up. So even if you don't go center in the first round with that 12th pick, you could potentially go and get one in the second round, and then you'll still be, fine no matter what.
Right.
So I don't think anybody's gonna necessarily have any, have any. I'm gonna say have anything bad to say about it because the Texans, we know how the Texans are in terms of the team. It's just like there's a lot of holes that still need to be filled, but having the draft capital they have is going to exponentially put them ahead of where they need to be.
Right. You got to say that about Nick Cassero. Like the hand he was dealt by Bill O'Brien and Jack Easterby was complete. Yeah. Like it was something you would buy at a Jaguars concession stand. Like it was complete garbage. It
was rat carcass.
Right. So for him to, get like you said, as much draft capital as you can, and then what he did with the salary cap. We next year will be the biggest team with the most free space. So, it's looking good.
Yeah.
So, Chris, who would you take in those first 3 rounds if you were the Texans?
If we're going Texans, I'm going to say Bryce Young is going to be a no-brainer. I think at this point the Panthers are pretty much enamored with CJ Stroud. So, I think he's the consensus number 1 at this point. But, is Bryce Young at 1? I think when you start to get into the other picks, because at 12, I actually have you guys picking up Jordan Addison.
Okay.
Because, of course, Jackson Smith and Jigba, he actually ended up going, I think, 2 picks prior. So I think that in and of itself was just, to me, it's like Addison is still going to be, I'm going to say probably like a quarterback's best friend in that case. He has all the intangibles. I think, to me personally, it's just like being able to have that 4-4, being able to, be somebody who I'm going to say he's probably, in my opinion, one of the better, I'm going to say, route runners with creating separation. To me personally, I think he has that. He has those intangibles. So I think that would be somebody that would be able to come in and just make an immediate impact. And then after that, I do have. Going back over, I do have John Michael Schmitz, and that one,
Jingleheimer Smith.
And the thing is, I think because who did you? I forgot who the center was, but I'm just I'm pretty sure you guys have had a carousel at center the same way that the Colts have had a carousel at left tackle over the last few years.
Yes.
So I think
Scott Questenberry and Justin Britt, but Justin Britt is no longer playing. I think he retired. But
Scott Questenberry is my mortal enemy.
Yeah. Fair enough. It's the same thing with Matt Pryor with all Colts fans, but he is in San Francisco now, so we're completely okay with that. But then outside of those, in the 3rd round, I actually have you guys coming back and picking up Zach Harrison, the edge rusher from Ohio State.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
I like
that
it.
one.
Like
yeah,
it.
like that one. I like it when thinking. I'm not thinking about best available. I'm thinking more so about how is D'Amico Ryans going to come in and mold that defense, because defensively he's going to come in and just make a lot of headway. I think he's going to depend on those OCs to be able to just really scheme up a game plan that's going to not necessarily have to be so pass heavy, but just be a good balance of everything. But defensively, it's just getting somebody like that. 6'4", having the wingspan that he has, being athletic as he is, I think he's going to be like that late round secret weapon that you can expect, D'Amico Ryans to just be like, okay, this guy is going to come in and wreak havoc.
Okay. All right. Any comments on Chris's little mock draft that he did?
Yeah, I just want to say one thing about the 12th overall pick. A lot of people obviously are saying that we're going to get a receiver, but this is a question of Maximus because what we do at 12 depends what the Titans do at 11. And the Titans could either get a tackle, they can get a receiver, JSN, or they can trade up and get a quarterback. So what's the buzz there in Tennessee?
Well, before we ask Maximus, we got a comment. Perfect. It says A to Z says Titans are exploring moving up to the 3rd pick in the draft. So Maximus, I kick it off with you.
All right. Well, there's a lot of talk about that. You know, a lot of people are saying that we might move up to the 3rd. I don't really like the idea of moving up to draft a quarterback. I don't really think we need to. If anything, I'd say we trade down. But I agree with what VT said that, you know, a lot of what they do at 12 depends on what we do at 11. And we could go either wide receiver or offensive tackle. I mean, they've really set it up to kind of be able to pick and choose who they want. But,
I bet Chris is hoping the Titans jump up at 3rd, so the Titans draft Will Levis instead of the Colts. But you know.
Hey, listen, he fits fits all the intangibles. He's a tall quarterback. He loves mayonnaise. He eats bananas with the peel on. As far as I'm concerned, it's just like he fits the Titans aesthetic to a T.
I heard he kisses his cousin. Like, I mean,
yeah.
Oh, come on now. Come on now.
I mean, he's right out there around Mountain Way, man. That makes sense, dude. He would make a moonshine in the locker room.
I'm telling you, mayonnaise moonshine. That's what it's gonna be.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But no, I wouldn't want any quarterbacks this year.
I always been curious about Titans fans of just riding with a quarterback for the longest time, 15 years of Tannehill, and you all would be like, hey, he's all right. You know, we don't need a quarterback.
Oh yeah, no, I'm done. I'm done with Tannehill. I mean, if that's your idea, I would actually like to trade off Tannehill and trade down in the draft. That's my idea.
Okay.
If I was the GM, that's what I would do. I would trade off Tannehill to a quarterback needy team in the late 1st round or early 2nd round and try to pick up 3 picks in the first 2 rounds.
Like Will?
No.
Who would you go for? I'm just curious. In this draft or whatever, out of the quarterbacks, if you had your pick of the litter. So
Cody nailed my first 3 picks on the Texans draft.
Okay.
He already said them exactly.
Wow.
But after that, it kind of changed up a little bit. I took Weipler, Tippin in round 3 at 65. The last 3rd round pick.
Hold on.
And
hold on. You cut out. We missed half what you were saying.
Oh, my bad. Where did I?
At 3rd round, you picked. I think Weipler is what you were saying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Weipler and Joe Tippin. And then after that, I went a little crazy. And after the Texans have watched Derrick Henry dominate for so many years in the AFC South, they decided to try to copy us a little bit and pick up Chris Rodriguez Jr. from UK. Big bruiser back.
Sir, I'm sorry to tell you, but we already got our Derrick Henry and Damian Pierce. So Cody knows about that all too well in the game against the
Yeah, unfortunately, man.
But yeah, Cody, I had a question for you. Max, go ahead and shoot it. Cody. About the quarterback. You had that question about the quarterback?
Oh, yeah. If the Tennessee Titans, as a Tennessee Titans fan, if you had your pick of the litter of the quarterbacks coming out, besides Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, those would be the obvious answer. Who would you pick?
That's a really tough question.
Yeah. I mean, that's the question that some of these teams are going to find themselves in that have this need. So it's
I mean, I guess if I have to take a quarterback with my 1st round pick, like someone's holding a gun to my head and says take a quarterback.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson.
Okay.
There you go.
I'd rather have him than Will Levis. And I don't think any of the other quarterbacks, a lot of people are saying Henderson's going in the first round. I mean, I just don't really see it. Not that.
Henderson?
I mean, yeah. Hooker. I'm sorry. Hooker, yeah. Hendon Hooker. My bad.
I don't know. I don't know. Personally, I don't like. I liked Hooker from the season before he got hurt. I think honestly, it's just like you have anybody coming in. I mean, you have Hooker coming in. I think he might be more pro ready than what they're saying Will Levis is going to be.
There's no way he's pro ready. This dude is in a gimmicky offense that is very QB friendly. I mean, yes, I know there's somewhat air raid in the NFL, but this is not just air raid. I mean, look at his backup quarterback. His backup quarterback was doing great even when he was gone. So this isn't just Hendon Hooker. This is a system that was built in Tennessee to be very quarterback friendly. And Hendon Hooker is going to have to come into the NFL and learn how to go in a pro style offense after having an injury. And then by the time he learns it, and potentially if he's good enough to get a second contract, he's almost 30. I mean, I think it's ridiculous. If he goes in the first round, honestly, some team has smoked too much crack that day because
I've heard that in a lot of teams he's rising in the draft board that he could fall to early second, late first.
All he has to do, like if he went to the Titans though, is like hand the ball off to Derrick.
Now remember, that's if the Titans keep Derrick Henry.
Right.
Because at this point, I mean, it's just I'm going to say he's on the wrong end of the 20s. I mean, it's just like he's going to be due up. I think he's due up for another contract the end of this year, isn't he?
Yes.
So I mean, I get it. I mean, he's dominant. I get it, but at the same time, it's just like, do you keep him on and then potentially continue to do that? Because I mean, you're gonna have to make a decision on him, have to make a decision on Tannehill. I mean, offense is gonna be different.
I don't think we cut Henry. If we move on from Henry next season, I think the fans would react to it a lot better than if we cut Henry or traded Henry in this offseason.
I would say don't be surprised at trade deadline if the Titans only won like 1 or 2 games, Derrick Henry is traded like Chris McCaffrey was.
Oh yeah,
because you could get a decent amount if you do it like right on whatever playoff team really needs.
The Bills, the Chiefs, like
right.
I mean,
exactly.
The Bengals.
Yeah,
if we go see the Chiefs, I'm not gonna watch football no more. That's just like a cheat code, Up, down, down,
kidding.
left, right, like over it. All right, well, what's your three your picks for the first 3 rounds for the Texans?
So I'll give you what I would like. I know this is not going to happen, but I'm just going to give you my fantasy. Speaking of hookers, so no, it's not.
Wow.
Speaking of hookers, I too like hookers. Not credit. Right,
Anthony Richardson actually is who I would pick if I was the GM. I understand why we're not going to. He is a boom or bust candidate. He is the prospect that he either becomes QB1 in the league or he gets you fired. I would personally swing for the fences and say, fuck it, let's go for the gold. But I understand a franchise that has only won 11 games in 3 years isn't going to do that, especially when Nick is not necessarily on the hot seat, but his seat's kind of warm. So I understand why we're not, but I would pick Anthony Richardson. And at the 12th overall pick, I would go edge, not receiver. I think that we need help both setting the edge and stopping the run. We let everyone run us over the past couple of years, and we need to stop that. So getting good edge, put up pressure, which will also help Derek Stingley perform. I'm sick and tired of these motherfuckers saying that Sauce is so much better than Stingley. No, he's not. He was just playing a lot of soft zone coverage. So the minute that we actually get some strong pass rush, Stingley can play more man, and we can actually see what he's made out of. So that's what I would do for the second and 12th overall pick. And then for 33, it's JMS all day.
All right. I mean, I'm a little biased, but I mean, I like it. But that's because I'm not like Sam. I am biased.
Yeah.
That's a great pick.
Thank you. I'm glad
So,
that you're open and honest about it,
Right.
since she is not.
all right, folks.
Can I just say
Go
something
ahead.
about the Jackson or whatever, the wide receiver? Quentin Johnson is higher on the draft board than he is, and I just don't understand that. Do y'all agree? Like that? Because I like from everybody here so far, like Jackson is the wide receiver if you're getting one, and I agree with that.
Quentin Johnson's on the board that high because of his measurables. There's no one really this size 6'4", 215, or he's actually not 6'4", 6'3", I guess in the combine. 6'3", 215. For whatever reason, all the receivers are small now. You're getting 5'10", 5'11" receivers. So he's the only one with that true X measurables that we're used to, and that's why he's up there. He doesn't play like he's big, though. He plays a lot smaller. So that's the problem. Like he catches a lot with his chest, and that's a big problem with QJ. But the thing is, if there's if he can be fixed, his measurables are perfect because he's got the speed and he's got the size. He just doesn't catch like he should.
And again, like to him to be higher than Jackson or whatever, and still have those like things that he should be working on, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like Jackson has more of the X factor. I guess he's just got it. Like he can go to any NFL team right now or whatever and make it better. Yeah.
The thing is, I'm sorry to cut you off, but the thing is because JSN really has played slot mostly, and that's really the knock, right? Can he be a true X? That's the question mark because we haven't seen him do that. He's played a lot of slot, and that's why you're seeing dudes like QJ go up.
I think the reason now for Jackson, I think the reason why he plays slot, I mean, this year hurt him, right? Because this was the year to prove that if he was an X or not. Because last year you had Olave, I mean, you had so many great receivers at Ohio State last year.
Correct.
And so he couldn't be. So this was the year to say, hey, look, I'm X, kind of like Jamar Chase. I mean, he didn't get the chance to because he played a lot of slot too, but there were so much great receivers in LSU. He opted out, but I you never know. So, but I think him getting hurt and sitting out the year hurt his stock, in my opinion. But
it makes sense.
I've been wrong before, a time or two.
Yeah, the problem that you run into with Ohio State is that they always have wide receivers. I want to say it's just like you're always going to run into that, and in those situations where it's just like you have a guy that's coming in behind him, mind you. I think another thing that definitely didn't go in his favor was the fact that Marvin Harrison Jr. got the buzz all year, wide receiver in Ohio State. So even if Jackson was actually doing well, or if he did really well, all Marvin Harrison Jr. had to do was just come up with that one ESPN highlight play, and then everything that he did for that game pretty much just went straight to hell.
Yeah.
So the thing is, it's like, kind of still having to play through that, kind of having to play through those issues, and then also, I think Quentin Johnson is going to be one of those guys that you see possibly going as that number one wide receiver, that number two wide receiver, just based on that 6'4" frame alone. Like it's going to be really, really hard to tell somebody because you can't coach that type of size.
I mean, with QJ, it's like the same thing I was hearing about, like with DK Metcalf. Like, dude's big. I mean, he's a good, wide receiver, but he's not like, he's not like the X factor or whatever. He does. To me, like personally, would I take him? Yes. Would I love him to be on this team? But like, if you had like I'm saying,
he wasn't Jamar Chase.
Yeah, with the pick of the draft. Yeah, with the pick of the draft, or whatever, you got those options out there, and I'm not picking somebody just because they look big. There's big motherfuckers. I'm sorry, there's big people that fall every day. You know what I'm saying?
My opinion, I'm like B. I'd rather go defense in that 12 pick. Either if Nolan Smith's there, it's a no brainer. Like you go with him. Yeah. Same thing with Tyree Wilson. Like you go there. I think you can get a good receiver in the second, maybe early third. I like Zay Flowers out of Boston College. I don't think he's going to be there in the early third, but the dude gets separation like no other. And I think, in my opinion, when it comes to skill, I think he's the best receiver in the draft. It's kind of the same thing as Jackson Smith is his size, right? I mean, that's the only thing really hurting him. So I would like Zay Flowers, but I think he's going to probably fall in the early second, late first.
I agree. I think he's going to go early second. But I would say, like, I think Zay Flowers and JSN are the two best receivers in this class. And I think that it comes down to Zay Flowers can stop at a dime. He can cut like crazy. He just has
his route running so beautiful.
It's smooth, right?
Yeah.
But what JSN could do is that, you always speak of having that toe, right, to stay in balance and stuff. That movement of his body, the way that he can contort his body and to stay in balance so he can get the touchdown, get that first down, and just stay in balance is amazing. I don't know if he took gymnastic as a kid. I don't understand it, but he is quite amazing, and that's why I like JSN. Yeah. I prefer JSN over Zay, but I can see anyone liking Zay over JSN.
Yeah, that's one of the things on my research. I wrote Tony Toe Tap somehow stays in bounds kind of wide receiver.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Well, like my boy Crenshaw says on the Texans fan battle, this is the worst part of the show because it's the end. So before we end anything, is there anything y'all would like to say about the Texans draft before we end it?
I hope you draft Will Levis.
I hope you stub your toe when you go.
I hope you draft Will Levis. How about that?
I mean, I hope you draft exactly who everybody thinks they're going to draft. But if they were smart, I think they would listen to VT and draft Anthony.
Hey, look, man, his head's already big enough. All right, I don't need you to make it any bigger. All right.
I'm just being honest, man. If it was me, I wouldn't feel comfortable with a small frame quarterback like Bryce Young in the NFL. That's what would really scare me about Bryce Young. He is highly talented and super amazing on the football field. But again, Alabama, how much of that's Alabama? And he's a small frame quarterback. It would kind of make me leery. I think I'd rather have Anthony Richardson. At least he can take a beat, if nothing else.
Or they could just draft Will Levis and just get it.
Or they could just draft Will Levis, and take all that worry away from us.
Don't worry, VT. Will Levis on the way.
Listen, I actually hate mayonnaise. Like, just I just throw it out there. I can't stand mayonnaise. So
me either, dude.
Just that alone. Nothing.
It sucks. It really does suck.
And
they put everything too.
Chris, since you gift us that last win on week 18, we will gift you Will Levis. So don't worry about that, man.
Don't worry about that, okay?
Calls are getting Will Levis.
That's the gift that keeps on giving. You go ahead. You get you Will Levis, okay? You get the most pro-ready quarterback in the draft.
All right, fellas. Well, let me kick it off with Cody. I know you're on the Jaguars fan battle, so why don't you tell everybody where we can find that and where we can find you on social media.
So Jaguars fan battle podcast on Facebook, Twitter. It actually showed up on Spotify. That was pretty dope. I was listening to that in the car ride today. You can find me Cody Cole Gaming everywhere, except OnlyFans. I might make one. I don't know.
Everybody else
needs to know that.
Times are getting hard. You don't always have to. You don't always have to, show your stuff well there. You can do other things. Like, I got feet.
Sorry, Cody. This whole time that we thought that you just had legs and then wheels at the bottom.
Yeah, man.
Well, tell us when does the Jaguars fan battle air so we can catch it?
We're Tuesdays at 8 and then sometimes Thursdays. It depends, man. Click the bell notification or whatever, and whenever we go live, you'll know.
Sounds great. All right, Mr. Maximus Titan fan, we know you don't have a podcast yet. We're trying to work on that for you, but tell us where we can find you on social media.
Yeah, man, you catch me at Maximus Titan Fan at Twitter and Instagram, any of those places, Facebook, all that good stuff.
All right. And BT, tell us where you can find the best Texans podcast there is.
You can find Texans Fan Battle on every single platform that you can think of. We're also on YouTube at Texans Fan Battle. We go live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central. And check out our articles on TexansFanBattle.com.
You mean FanBattleSports.com?
Oh, my bad. FanBattleSports.com.
All right. And the third worst team in the division, the Colts. Well, tell me where you can find your podcast. And
this is exactly why you're getting Will Levis. Yeah, so you can find us on Twitter at @horseshoe_mob, Horseshoe Mob Podcast, every Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just record our 4th episode yesterday because I've been moving. So we're getting that straight. But yeah, check us out there. Check us out on Facebook, Horseshoe Mob Podcast, and you can also find us on FanBattleSports.com, posting up articles on all the things that the Titans, Texans, Jags fans have done wrong.
And I hate you, Chris. You can find me at, like B said, Texan Fan Battle Podcast on Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Central, and on A1 Day 1 Texans everywhere. Guys, make sure you check out FanBattleSports.com. You can see some wonderful articles from BT, Morocco Taylor from the Titans. It sounds a little Mayo-y, but it's still a good read. So make sure you check it out. And also on YouTube, Fan Battle Sports, make sure you subscribe. Like Cody said, check the little bell so that way you can see us go live. And until then, guys, we will catch you next week when Chris cries about how the Colts will draft Will Levis with the 4th pick. Until then, you have a wonderful night.
How can we draft him when he's going to be taking that too?
No, sir. And
AFC, are you ready for the fight? Nighty night, lights out, no Tyson. About to be the clash of the Titans. Strike like a lightning bolt. You feel the ground pounding, that might be the coast. Quick like a joke, like to hit when provoked. Don't you doubt that. That's a Jaguar to a house.